All right, so pull up a chair and let's get painting. So I'm going to put a fine mist on this 5 by 5 canvas that I have. It's a canvas board, and I'm using artist grade acrylics this time around. And I think I'm going to really love using this size canvas. You're able to get um, the whole thing done in a matter of anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on your subject matter. So I always like to do the background first. And in this one, it's going to be kind of like a bokeh effect. You know how you get that blurred out uh, image behind your focal image? That's what I'm going for here. So I'm not too worried about brush strokes right now. I just want to lay on a bunch of different values of this green going into a yellow for the background. And then I'm going to take this is actually goat hair, very soft brush, and it just takes out those brush marks that are left from your brush. And make sure to dry it before you start this section. And the picture on the right top hand corner there is a picture that my sister-in-law took on one of her travels, and she was kind enough to let me use it. So just a monarch on top of some sort of yellow daisy. And again, see, you can see that it's all blurred out. The main focal point is the butterfly on that one daisy flower. So still working out the colors. It's just kind of slap it on and get the different hues. And you're not going to see the exact copy of the photo. This is just a reference. So just try your best and don't worry so much about it. These small canvases are to learn and to find basically what your style is. By doing these every day, you're going to find maybe you aren't really into being a realist painter. Maybe you're more into the little bit of an abstract or a little bit of impressionistic. That's the fun about doing these. And when you're all done with however many you end up doing, you'll be able to put them on your wall of inspiration. And that's what I'm going to do. And I think it's going to be so cool. So I will have the photo references for you in the memberships, all 3 levels. So if you want to follow along with what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to use them. Or if you have ones of your own, try it. You can mix them. Do some of mine and do some of your own. I will try to put up as many of the painting videos as I can. I may not do all of them for every single day, but I will be doing a live stream once a month with Lena from Miss Lennox 2010. She's also doing the challenge with me, and we'll discuss what we've learned and show what we've done and talk about how we feel the challenge is going. So I hope you'll join in, and if you do, I'd love to see what you're doing. And we'll probably put up a, let's see, paint along with Kathy Arbor, or maybe we'll make up another one, a painting a day challenge with Kathy and Lena, or Kathy and Lena challenge. I don't know. I'll decide that and I'll let you know. So here I'm using my little blender brush from Princeton. These are great. And I'm just adding a little bit of that darker color. That's just a sap green. And we're just putting it around the very edge and kind of blurring it into the yellows so it gives that blurred edge look. I don't want a defined edge to the background. And you may have to dry in between. You don't want to mix the colors too much, so be careful about trying to do this on a surface that's just starting to dry, because you can lift your paint and then it's very difficult to fix that. And I've sped this up about 2 times, and I think it's pretty good for you guys to see what I'm doing. Let me know if you prefer live, real time, or if this is okay. I just think that maybe it might be a little boring for you to see me do this, because this took about an hour and 20 minutes roughly. And I like to sit and ponder, so to speak. So look at my painting, see if it's making sense, looking at colors, standing back, taking a look at it, maybe going for a coffee, coming back with new eyes. It's important to do that because sometimes you get so enthralled in your work that you've kind of got tunnel vision in the area that you've been working, and you don't notice little mistakes you've done along the way. And then when you come back with fresh eyes, you see it instantly. Or you can also put your painting upside down, and a lot of times you'll see it, or put it in a mirror and look at it through a mirror. So here I'm taking the easy way out and just have fun. This is more about painting. If you want to draw, then draw. I'm just going to put in the butterfly. I don't really need to draw the flower. It's a fairly basic shape flower. If you want to put the flower in, you can do that. I just wanted to put the butterfly in so I know where all of those little segments in the wing go. And I just wanted to get painting, so I didn't want to take the time to draw it. So I'm just using the Sorel transfer paper, and I really enjoy using that. It's easy enough to paint on, doesn't discolor your paint, and if you are using it on paper, it's great because you can erase it. There we go. So I'm mixing a little bit of that cad yellow with the titanium white to add that to my petals. Now these petals are going to be more in focus, so I want them to be nice and bright and opaque. And you'll find that a lot of yellows are very opaque. It's very difficult to get true opaque yellow, and most of the time I do put a coat of either buff or titanium white on my areas that are going to be yellow, or say a bright red or orange, that type of thing, because those colors tend to be very transparent and I want it bright. So in order to get that bright yellow, clean yellow look, you do need to put that white down first and then put your yellow on top of that once it's dry. Or you can mix the yellow in it when it's wet too, and it gives it kind of a streaky look, which can help with the flower petal, because a lot of times flower petals have little creases and the lines will kind of represent that look. So as you can see, I'm not at all close to what the picture is. I'm just using this for the colors and basically a little bit of the composition, and then I'm just making up the background basically. So that's kind of the blurred out head of the daisy flower. A little bit of green stems here and there, and leaves, whatnot. Still just playing with that green. You can mix up the green colors by adding a little bit of black to it, white, a little yellow. It'll change up whether it looks more on the olive side or the sap green side, bright leaf green. If you're using this photo, just pay attention to where the shadows are and where the highlights are. So this flower is much bigger than, well, it's totally different than what's in the photo, but I'm just playing with it, going with it. And you can also see that I'm using fairly small brushes because of the size of the canvas. You don't need to be using like, you know, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch flats. Use what's comfortable. If you're somebody that wants detail, more realistic, then stick to your smaller brushes so you're able to do that detail. If you're more of a loose painter, like that impressionistic look of stroke marks, that's when you get into your more larger brushes. So 1/2 inch to 3/4, sometimes even 1 inch flat will give you those loose looks. So play with your brush sizes and different types of brushes too while you're painting in these. Now, I don't know if everybody's like this, but I know I am. I kind of hesitate in practicing on canvas, because canvas to me is a finished piece of art that you hang on a wall. It's not something that you'll just hide away in a corner or inside of a journal or something. Um, so if you're one that feels the same way, try this out first in a journal or in a mixed media book, so you get comfortable with what to do and what not to do. And then take your canvases out and do it again. And you could actually consider practicing in a journal as a painting a day. Just because it's not on a canvas doesn't mean you didn't do it, right? So if you want to practice them first, count that. You could also write on the bottom of that practice piece of art, this was for canvas a day, and this is my practice piece, and this is what I found I like, and this is what I won't do. And it's actually a really good way of keeping a record in your sketchbook. And that's what sketchbooks are for experimenting in, taking notes. So you can go back and take a look at what you were doing, what experiments you were doing, and then learn from it. So I'm just using lamp black, I believe it is. Now, I'm a big supporter of mixed media, so I am not going to limit my paintings to just one medium. So this isn't just going to be acrylic artist grade paint. If I see an area that would be fitting to use another product to make it easier and would look better, I'm going to use it. So if you're seeing something maybe you want to use as with your Poscas, by all means use your Poscas. There's no point in not using them anymore. There's no there's no art police around here that's gonna say you weren't supposed to use that Posca in that wing. Use it. I think it's great that people are using different mediums to get a different effect or to help with the look that you're trying to get. Share it too. It's always great to get ideas from everyone else when they've come up with a new way of using something. It's important to help other artists in their work. We're always learning. We're always trying and experimenting, and it's so awesome when we can share with each other and not worry that, oh, I'm giving out my secret. No. Share it. Now you can see this wing is a little bit funny looking, but that's because of the angle that it's in. So it's foreshortened because that wing is coming towards you, so you're not seeing it on its flat. So I'm just using a little bit of that red and a little yellow and a little bit of white. And again, that's because of the red that I'm using. Most reds are transparent, so you do have to either put say a red down with a little bit of white in it, or white, and then you can put your orange on top of the white and it'd be more vibrant. This one had a little bit of yellow and a little bit of, there's a bit of green in the background, so I wanted to make sure that they all looked similar as far as the color of orange. And I wanted to cover the green too, so you want something that's fairly opaque. Now, I could have probably put in the orange first and then the black. Might have been a better way to go. Not as fussy putting the orange around the black, but you can always go back with a Posca pen, there we go, and touch up things. I'm using a really small brush here. I believe it's number 2. It's a round. And these brushes are fairly inexpensive. That's a plaid brush from Donna Dewberry, One Stroke Painting. That's actually a really good set to get for acrylics. So if you find some in the store or online, and they're fairly reasonable to buy too. I think you get, I think it's 2 script liners, 1 long, 1 short, and then there's like 3 or 4 flats. I think there's something like 7 brushes in the set. Using a bit more cad yellow. And this time I'm just putting it on full strength. And just to give it a bit of deeper value. You can also do a nice glaze of it if you want to just say to brighten it up a little bit. So just add some water to your brush, make a glaze, and just wipe over the top of it, and that'll brighten it up. And I think I do that in the top of the flower because the base of the cone on the flower is darker, so I need to do a little bit of a darker edge around the bottom there. In the center of it, it's got a little bit of a green tinge to it also. A little bit of stems in here and there. If you look at the photo, there's quite a few stems coming up. I don't want them too bright though, because then it kind of takes your eye away from the butterfly. And I want the focus to be there. So this is a very easy one as far as color. Mostly greens and yellows and a little bit of sienna, I think it is. So, or ochre. So not a lot of color mixing here. Just a bit, but it's fairly easy. So I'm just adding a little bit more depth around some of those areas, just so that the background kind of pops a little bit. So making sure I blur out the edges. Now I just took plain yellow, cad yellow, and I'm putting it as a glazing over top of that orange to brighten that up. And you can see how easily you can brighten some colors up by just adding that bright yellow. So it doesn't go yellow, but it does brighten that orange up. Do you see my tapping of the fingers? I was thinking there. Just thinking because I see that top of that cone is kind of light. It was kind of disappearing in the background. So that's why I'm adding this green here, so that that cone pops a little bit more. These are the little seed heads here and there that you're just little specks basically on the cone of the flower. Not a lot, but just here and there. Posca. So I'm just gonna clean up the lines along the veinings of the wing. Makes a big difference. Little antennas. And his feet. I love Poscas for this type of thing. No point in stressing yourself out trying to get a line that's equal in width with a brush. And I'll do the dots too. I believe I use a white Posca, which makes sense. Yep. And I try and stay fairly um, on track as far as where all the dots are. I might add a few couple extras here and there, but if they're typically patterned a certain way, then I stick to that pattern. But if they're kind of random with each one, they're not all the same, then I don't worry as much. Those white dots just seem to make all the difference. It's so funny how a certain little thing can make a big impact in a painting. And just doing a few touch-ups here and there. The line work for the little stems. As you can see, they're not bright green, kind of muted, so they're not too noticeable. Just some soft ones here and there, just to give a little bit more interest in the background, a little more busy looking in the background, but it's still soft enough that it's not going to take your eye away from that butterfly. So there I just put a little bit of a umber color around the base to give that. And there it is. So hope you'll give it a try, and we'll see you next time. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Bye for now.